That brings us to today, which is calming, changed it, yes, the internal sea, which is something we got to do a lot these last few days anyway. So this month we are looking at celebrating life by pulling up anchor and letting God take the rudder as we examine how to successfully navigate through life no matter what the condition of the sea or who forgets to pick you up. So
let it go.
I know, and that's why we're looking at this. You'll notice that there are a lot of my talks go along with things that are actually happening in today's world, which is good. Oh yeah. So there's something that we all have, something that we all use, something that every single day can either hold us back from our ability to navigate or can give us great assistance. And who knows what that is? All of us have it. It's our mind. Each one of us has our mind. Ram Dass, who is a modern-day spiritual leader, once said, "We are all prisoners of our minds. This realization is the first step to the journey of freedom." And so I want to make a pretty rash statement this morning, right up front. Are you guys ready for this? This is, kind of difficult here. But it's so true. And I've come to know this as a personal truth. And it's a good reminder, but that is, if your mind is out of control, your life is out of control. When your mind is going, whoo, you simply can't be letting God take the rudder, so to speak. And no successful navigation can occur when your mind is out of control. It's really that simple. Carl Jung, who was Sigmund Freud's premier student in the field of psychoanalysis, often told the story of the power of the mind that is calm and serene. Interestingly, we saw this story, or one that was similarly featured in the movie that we watched on Spiritual Cinema Night, or Movie Night here, in which we had fabulous popcorn. I'm still thinking about that, and other wonderful food. But anyway, it seems that there was a village that had been experiencing drought. Do you remember the story? They were experiencing drought for 5 consecutive years. Now we're only into 2, I think, here in Modesto. Many rainmakers had been called, but none of them had been able to make it rain. And in the villagers' last attempt, they called upon this renowned rainmaker from afar. And when he arrived at the village, he set up his tent and he disappeared into it for several days. Actually, it was for 4 days, exactly. And on the 5th day, the rain started to fall, and it quenched the thirst of the parched earth. And the people of the village asked the rainmaker how he had accomplished such a miracle. And the rainmaker said, "I have done nothing." Astounded by this explanation, the villagers said, "How can that be? After you came, 4 days later, the rain started." And the rainmaker explained, "When I arrived, the first thing that I noticed was that everything in your village was out of harmony with heaven. And so I spent 4 days putting my mind into harmony with the divine. Then the rains came." So see, even when we put our individual minds into harmony with the divine, it assists the entire village. We must remember how powerful each and every one of us is. Because if your mind is out of control, if your mind is out of harmony with the divine, your life is then out of control and out of harmony with the divine. So in this case, what can you do? How can you calm the internal sea of your mind? And this is where I want to show you this book, which is where I got much of my information for this talk. The Essential Spirituality, Exercise from the World's Religions to Cultivate Kindness, Love, Joy, Peace, Vision, Wisdom, and Generosity. It's by Robert Walsh. And it just has just some amazing things in here, which I'll talk about it. Anyway, based on over 20 years of research and spiritual practice, this is a groundbreaking and life-changing book.
In his book? Is it going to be a book club book?
I'm thinking. In his decades of study, Dr. Roger Walsh has discovered that each of the great spiritual traditions has 2 things in common. First, and most importantly, they all have a common goal. The goal of recognizing that the sacred and divine that exists both within and around us. So every major teaching recognizes that the sacred and divine exists within and around us. And second, they share the common practices, according to Walsh, a number of common practices to reach that goal. And notice the word practices. That word is so important. 2,500 years ago, one of the holiest of the holy, the Buddha said, however many holy words you read, however many you speak, what good will they do you if you do not act upon them? Remember what he just read in The Power of Now. Do something. Action is better than non-action. That's actually from the book. Today I'll share one of those common practices, and you may want to read about the rest, and we may just pick this up as a book study. This morning I want to share with you the practice of calming the internal sea, the practice of controlling that out-of-control mind that is common to all great spiritual traditions. Chuang Tzu, the Taoist sage, once said, control the mind, attain one-pointedness. Then the harmony of heaven will come down and dwell in you, and you will be radiant with life. You will rest in the Tao. Have you ever met those people that just radiate that amazing presence? Because they're totally present. They just know. They're in sync with the divine. The Buddha said, may you develop mental concentration, for whosoever is mentally concentrated sees things according to reality. That's on page 147. And that sounds wonderful, important. There's just one problem. Our minds are very restless creatures, aren't they? They don't want to stay in one place very long. They're always going on to the next thing. They're always on the move. They wander ceaselessly, jumping from the past memories to future fantasies, constantly plotting and planning. Oh man, I love to plan, don't you? Don't you love to think, okay, what great things coming up next, and what great gatherings can we have, and wow, when we get this done at the house, it's going to look so great, and then we can do this, and then we can do this, and wow, where did today, end, and where does tomorrow take over, right? We go on from our past memories to our future fantasies, and we're constantly plotting and planning and pursuing pleasures and also fleeing fears, aren't we? A lot of times there's some fear that sneaks in there. While we're driving down the road, we plan our day. We refight yesterday's argument. We worry about our finances, and we listen to the radio, which is a great way to just totally zone out. How did I get here? I was driving, and I don't remember turning. Wow, it's amazing. No wonder so many people feel frazzled during the day and exhausted by the end of it. Whew. I know sometimes I think, I haven't done that much, and I'm really tired because my mind's been working all day long. Even more remarkable than the perpetual agitation of our minds is the fact that we recognize only a fraction of this frenzy. We only recognize that we're in that place just a little bit. Walsh writes, the recognition of just how extraordinary, out of control our minds are was one of the greatest shocks of my life. No training in medicine, neuroscience, or psychology had given me more than a hint of it. I was utterly unprepared for the realization of the extent of the mind's wanderlust that my first silent retreat revealed. Each hour I would sit down determined to remain alert and aware to focus on the sensation of the breath. Yet within seconds, and that's even longer than it takes me sometimes, my attention would zoom off into pleasant memories or fearful fantasies. And all thought of breath, or even that I was meant to be focusing on it, was forgotten. Time and time again, I would awaken from my fantasies and vow that this time I would really focus on the breath, and that yet seconds later both breath and vow would be forgotten. It was a humbling experience, and afterward I wrote, I was forced to recognize that what I had formerly believed to be my rational mind, preoccupied with planning and problem solving, actually comprised a frantic torrent of forceful, demanding, loud, and often unrelated thoughts and fantasies. It became clear that I had little more than the faintest inkling of self-control over either thoughts or feelings. And remember what I said earlier, if your mind is out of control, then your life is out of control. So if your mind is out of control, you're not experiencing, nor are you going to experience, to get successful navigation of the waters of life. How is your level of one-pointedness? You can get a taste of it in just a couple minutes by doing the following brief experiment. Some of you may remember doing this quite a while ago when we were in riverbank, because we did this on the wall actually. And I want you to close your eyes and visualize a white ring with a white dot in the middle on a black background. Close your eyes, visualize a white ring with a white dot in the middle on a black background. Try to focus your attention undistractedly on the image and to keep it clear and steady in your mind for the next minute. Okay, how'd you do? It's astonishing to find out how dramatically the image shifts and changes despite our best effort to hold it steady. Do we have a little difficulty doing that? It's amazing, isn't it? Not only does the image change, but attention wanders away to passing thoughts and fantasies and memories and, oh wow, did I pick up milk? It's just amazing what just comes on in there, right? Buddhists have long compared the mind lurching from thought to thought to a crazy monkey leaping from erratically from branch to branch. It's just, that's where the leaping monkeys come from. Or how about this description found in The World's Religions by Huston Smith? He says, the motions of the average mind, says the Hindus, are about as orderly of those as a crazed monkey cavorting about its cage. Nay, more like the prancings of a drunk, crazed monkey. Even so, we have not conveyed its restlessness. The mind is like a drunken, crazed monkey that has St. Vitus dance. To do justice to our theme, however, we must go that final step. The mind is like a drunken, crazed monkey with St. Vitus dance who has just been stung by a wasp. Okay. How long can the average mind think about one thing only, without slipping into thinking about that thing and taking off from there to a senseless chain of irrelevancies? About 3.5 seconds, psychologists tell us. Like the ping pong ball, the mind will alight where the owner directs it, but only to take off immediately on a jittery flight of staccato bounces that are completely out of hand. What if the mind could be turned from a ping pong ball into a lump of dough, which when thrown sticks to the wall until deliberately removed? It's kind of an interesting visual, isn't it? Would not its power increase if it could be thus held in focus? Would not its strength be compounded like the strength of the light bulb when ringed by reflectors? This is the aim of concentration, when all the senses are stilled, when the mind is at rest, when the intellect wavers not. That, say the wise, is the highest state. And I know that when we practice this, when we're calm, it's easier to remember this practice when we're agitated, when we're in the middle of something that is very upsetting and pulling us at a million directions. And that's why we practice when things are going very smoothly. We don't wait until it's crazed. When a student once asked Ramana Maharishi, one of the 20th century's great Hindu sages, what stands in the way of my knowing myself or God, he shot back, your wandering mind. So in our busy lives, with our challenges and our activities, how do we focus our wandering minds? How do we concentrate? How do we calm that internal sea? Here are a few simple exercises that Walsh recommends. Of course, the practice of meditation is a form of calming that internal sea that every spiritual tradition promotes, every one of them. But how about this? And we've talked about this too. This is one of those ideas that is really a good reinforcement. How about transforming daily activities, something we have to do every single day, into a sacred ritual? Because we do so many things mindlessly, don't we? And so to bring it back into a sacred ritual, something like Rich says, he enjoys washing dishes. I enjoy him washing dishes. He says it's a spiritual practice for him. It's very meditative, and he enjoys that. By deciding to use these daily activities for spiritual awakening, seemingly insignificant routines become sacred rituals dedicated to developing calm and concentrations. So dishes may not be your thing. They're not mine. So think about selecting a particular activity, such as opening a door. We all have to open how many doors each day, right? How about committing to do it with as much awareness as possible? Thus, during the day, you'll no longer hurl open the doors and barge through them, running out the door quick. Oh my gosh, I forgot this, running back in, grabbing that. Every time you open a door, stop just long enough to take a deep breath and reach carefully for the handle. Feel that handle in your hand. Feel the touch. Turn the knob gently or press down, however your handle works, and turn it and open that door very gently. Then step through it and gently close that door behind you. Make just opening and closing a door a sacred practice. For the trivial cost of a few seconds, you have calmed yourself, you've brought your attention to the present, and you're in that moment, and you've transformed a mindless routine into a mindful, sacred ritual. Wasn't that easy? We can do that. Think how many things we can do that. The same thing when you get in your car. Instead of jumping in the car and roaring off with the radio blaring, try the following. Leave a few minutes early so you won't feel hurried. Seat yourself behind the steering wheel and take 3 deep, slow breaths. Remind yourself that you want to use this ride as part of your spiritual practice. Then drive calmly and mindfully and enjoy the scenery and the knowledge that this ride is contributing to your spiritual awakening.
You can report back to us on that one, Chris.
That is my new spiritual practice after yesterday. Actually, I did a lot of driving this weekend, and for the most part, it was okay. The interesting thing was we really did get a chance to stay present in the moment and know that all was well, because there was a lot of construction that they had told my daughter would be done by April. Then it was going to be done by May. Then it was going to be done by June. Well, it's July 12th, and it's because when there was no traffic, it took us 7 minutes to get back to our hotel. It took us 45 minutes to drive to the venue from our hotel. We were not that far, but the construction and their traffic was really amazing, and it was a really good reminder to slow down, to be in the moment, and to know that it was all well. And we did plan. We did send out 1 million texts to everybody not to be late and to leave early. And you know what? Everyone made it on time. It was wonderful. So it does work. A normal day is filled with numerous interruptions, right? Every day we think we're on track. Okay, I'm going to get this, and this done. And then all these interruptions start coming. And all these minor irritations. How often do we answer automatically, like when the phone, unconsciously, when the phone rings? What I love now is it tells us, if we're watching TV, who the caller is. So we used to run frantically to catch the phone. Now we can go, oh yeah, that's a telemarketer. We're not getting up. And it kind of keeps it a little bit calmer there. But when we do go to answer the phone, take a deep breath. Let it ring an extra ring or so. And then allow yourself to be fully present for that conversation. And I've shared before the story of what Thich Nhat Hanh, who is the Vietnamese monk, who was nominated for the Nobel Prize for his remarkable peace work. And he has a center in France, and the staff take 2 breaths each time before picking up the phone. So it may ring a little longer, but when you call that center and there's a slight pause, you know that you're speaking with someone who's offering you their full attention, and they are calm, and they have clear awareness that they are very present in that moment. What a gift. What a gift to be fully present in the moment when you are talking with someone, whether on the phone or in person. I think it's a true gift. If you decide that the telephone will be your spiritual alarm and take a deep breath before answering, like the people at the monastery, it might be helpful to put a little note to yourself on the telephone to remind yourself so you don't go into automatic pilot, because I know I do immediately. Oh, the phone's ringing, I have to answer it right now. However, how about this? Before picking up the phone, say, I am calm, poised, and at peace with the world. And that's right out of the Science of Mind textbook, page 249. With exercises like these, it soon becomes apparent that any normal activity can be transformed into a sacred ritual and a moment of awakening. We think we have to do, set aside 10 minutes or 20 minutes to meditate. We think we have to get our own little corner of the room all set in our little whatever so that we can be okay, now I'm going to be spiritual. No, we can be spiritual every minute of the day. We just have to keep reminding ourselves of that. As Jewish wisdom emphasizes, any natural act, if hallowed, leads to God. Isn't it amazing? Everything we do is hallowed, don't you think? Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now says, so break the old pattern of present moment denial and present moment resistance. Make it your practice to withdraw attention from the past and future whenever they are not needed. Step out of the time dimension as much as possible in everyday life. If you find it hard to enter the now directly, start by observing the habitual tendency of your mind to want to escape the now. You will observe that the future is usually imagined as either better or worse than the present. If the imagined future is better, it gives you hope or pleasurable anticipation. If it is worse, it creates anxiety. Both are illusionary. Through self-observation, more presence comes into your life automatically. The moment you realize that you are not present, you are present. Wow, where was I? Oh, now I know I'm here. Whenever you are able to observe your mind, you are no longer trapped in it. It just reminded me of many times one of the tricks that I use when I'm in the dentist chair, maybe getting a root canal or a filling. I do purposely go forward into the future past that moment because I don't want to be there. That's not a moment I want to stay present in at that time. I see myself, okay, when this is over, and it will be, then I'm going to be here. And that is a good tool. But for most, every day, being right in the very present moment is a good thing. For most people, the benefits develop slowly, but they build over time. They're cumulative. Everything you do now is building and collecting, and it's a good thing. The first days, weeks, months of practice may neither feel deep or rewarding. I mean, you have to kind of keep at it. So when starting, it's really helpful to make a commitment to continue for a specific period of time. And sticking to that commitment takes a word that some of us really aren't too crazy about. It kind of goes along with exercise and dieting, and here it is, it's discipline. It's kind of a scary word, but it can serve us. It can be good. Discipline was once defined as carrying out a resolution long after the mood has left. Boy, isn't that the truth? Great paradox of this work. When we least want to do it is when we probably could benefit from it the most. Hear, hear. Boy, I'll tell you. Just a couple months back, I found myself kind of in a downturn. Things weren't going all that well, and I had to make myself pull up my podcasts from some of my favorite spiritual teachers, as well as plug in my CDs and tapes on my way to work. And now my drive to work is really short. It's only about 10 minutes. And so, well, each way. But within the week, even just those 10 minutes each way, okay, I got to put Louise Hay back on and listen to her I Can Do It CD. Okay, oh, I've got to listen to Jeffrey, I was listening to Jeffrey Proctor's passed on, but I was listening to some of his old tapes, and he's wonderful. And my mind's blanking on Joe Hooper, Reverend Joe Hooper. He's just awesome. And Moira Fox, I'm listening to her, and man, just a week. And I didn't feel like it when I first started. The first couple of days, I was like, oh, I really don't want to do it. But by the end of the week, I was back on track. It was good. Roger Walsh writes at the conclusion of the chapters on this, the concentrated mind is not only calm but also clear. How many of us want clarity? I want clarity. Whew. Just as still water becomes lucid and mirror-like, so to a calm, clear mind, accurately reflects the world. That was Zhuangzi as well. When water is still, it is like a mirror, and if water thus derives lucidity from stillness, how much more the faculties of the mind. The mind of the sage in repose becomes the mirror of the universe. A calm mind offers a clear mirror with which to look out at the world and in at ourselves. A calm internal sea gives us spiritual freedom, the freedom to experience the presence of the power of the divine in our lives, the freedom to manifest a life filled with joy, love, health, abundance, wisdom, and peace. So let's do that last practice from Thich Nhat Hanh together. It's a breath break, so say as you breathe. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. How freeing it is to experience this freeing moment. I would say it's something to celebrate, wouldn't you? And so it is.